Hi, everybody. This is Joanne Eisen with Reach the Unlimited, and I'm so happy to be back live again with you all. I know it's been a couple weeks since I've been live. Not quite a month, 3 weeks, I think. And I'm very happy to be back. Hello, whoever is here. Um, and thank you all so much for your kind words. I tried to come on last week. I don't mean to say thank God it happened, but it did. I had a guest scheduled and she wasn't able to come on. And then I ended up getting sick and it was just a really difficult situation. So all worked out the way it was supposed to work out. But I felt really bad because I knew that it had been a long time and I was really excited for this guest to come on. And I'm going to be rescheduling her in a couple weeks. So I'm really excited about that. Wow, 6 people. Yay. Thank you, you guys. Um, I just wanted to say thank you so much for all your support and your kind words while I was sick. I did get COVID. I have not had it yet. I had not even done a COVID test until last week. Hi, Eddie. Oh, so nice. I am feeling better, and it's really nice to come back. And I actually did an Instagram live today. I was on a rant, I guess you can say, which is my topic for today about fear. Something that I really learned and acknowledged and witnessed while I was in England. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for your kind words and support while I was sick. I really was out of it till pretty much the beginning of this week. I think like yesterday or Tuesday, I think was the first day I felt almost normal. I'm almost back to normal now. I'm still, hi, Marcia. I'm still nasally, but at least I have my energy back. I literally slept for most of last week. I was that out of it. And you know when you have COVID, because it feels completely different than anything that you've ever had before. I can't say why, because I don't know. I guess it's like having the flu on steroids. I'm sure you've all heard that, but it was really intense. But I really appreciate you all understanding your support. And this week I actually had scheduled for me to talk to you all. So that worked out really well. So I'm very excited to be here and chat with you all. I had an amazing experience in England. I have to say, every part of it was just so amazing. The things that I was able to learn, the people that I was able to interact with, the experiences that we had were amazing. I am going to try to put together a slideshow of some of the high points that we got to experience. I went on this trip with Sheila French. She arranged this whole thing. And the people that she connects herself with were just amazing. No, I didn't go to Liverpool. There's so many places I didn't go, Eddie, that I really wanted to go. One of my biggest hopes was to take the underground train or the ferry to France. And because of the Brexit thing, France is not wanting the UK to come over there, or England to come over there, not the UK, England to come over there. And so it was going to cost a lot of money and take a lot of time. And hi, everybody. Oh, yeah. Hi, Periette. It's nice to see you. Thank you. It's so nice to be back. It's so nice to be able to be home again, too. That always feels so good. So I wasn't able to go over to France, which I was really disappointed about. I really wanted to go over there. That was one of my biggest highlights, at least to get to France, if not go over to Paris, because I was only like 2 hours away from there. Just would have been amazing. But because of Brexit, it didn't happen. One of the things that I found very interesting while I was there, because you guys know I like to be curious. I want to know what's going on. And so I would listen to the news in England. And of course, we were there during the Queen's Jubilee, which was really exciting. Really, it didn't hold us back too much from the things that we wanted to do. But it was really interesting to talk to the people there and to see the love and the loyalty that they have to their queen, and to hear the news and the way that they portray everything that's going on, very similar to what we have in the US. I thought that was really interesting. You hear the same kind of rhetoric from the news medias that you would hear here. It was really amazing. The group of us went out on the actual day of the Jubilee, and we hip hip hurrah the Queen of England. And we got to walk and march with them. And I met this really beautiful lady, Melanie, who took some pictures of me with their what do you call their band with their, their music, whatever it is. I'm not thinking about that now. Anyway, she took pictures of that. Anyway, I'll have pictures that I'll post later on that. But it was really, really nice. And I would have to say the highlight of my trip was definitely going to Stonehenge. I cannot say that enough. And thankfully, the beautiful Sheila had gotten us into Stonehenge. If you've heard about it, then you know that they blocked Stonehenge off and you're not able to actually get into Stonehenge unless you have a special trip that you're going or a special group that you go in with. And Sheila put together for us that we were able to go in to the actual Stonehenge, the surroundings. I'll come back to that, Eddie. You have a good point. I was very intrigued about what you're saying. I was very intrigued because I'm a foreigner. If you all didn't read Eddie's response, he was talking about my comments about the Queen of England and being a part of her Jubilee 70th year of being on the crown or on the throne. And so for me, because of course I'm not from England, I'm not a part of that whole part of the world or that whole monarch. But it was interesting to me. I'm diverting here. It was interesting to me to see how the people of England felt about her. So one of the things that happened was and I talked about this on my Instagram. So if you all heard that, then this is a repeat. But a group of us went into London after. And so when we would get into an Uber car, when we were taking our trip with Sheila, we were in a bus. And then when we went to London, we were doing Uber stuff. But when I was in the Uber car, they always had me sit in the front. And until I started feeling bad, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But I would sit in the front. And as I would do, I would talk to the driver and find out about what was going on. So I was constantly asking about, what do you feel about the Queen? How long do you think that she'll stay in power? Which they all believe she will until she passes. With the next, will Charles go in? And that alone is a big topic because some people want him to go in, but most people do not want him to go in. And so I asked all these questions because I was so curious about how they felt about the Queen. And what I was really surprised about is everybody that I had talked to, they were really in support of the Queen. And they were really in support of the job that she's done over the life that she has lived as being the Queen. And I was really, really, and I don't mean surprised in a bad way. I just was really surprised because we in America hear that she's not well liked, or that she, they after her, they won't do the monarch anymore and all of that stuff. That's not what we got when we were there from tour guides, from Uber drivers, from people that we talked to just on the street. It was really interesting to get people's response. Hi, Miriam. I'm so happy I'm doing well too. Thank you. And I would imagine that, Eddie. And I have to say, one of the things that we did is we went into the castle, right? We went into the royal jewels. We went into a lot of the even the cathedrals and all of these places that we went that are owned by or connected to the monarch. And there's so much wealth there. And I know that during the time of beginning of history, there was always this hierarchy and all that stuff. But to see the unequal, and we're dealing with it now, right? Aren't we, with all the oligarchs and the billionaires and the higher ups versus the lower downs and all that stuff? That's kind of what the meeting of the minds right now, right? Of not being equal. But it really struck me how imbalanced it was, how imbalanced this wealth was to the everyday commoner, which is what we have here in the United States as well. But we don't quite have it as bad as that. When you see the jewels of the crown, which we know is hundreds, thousands of years old. I mean, some of that is just going all the way back to the beginning of time. And some of it is more relevant or recent. It really bothered me. It really, really bothered me. It was hard for me to stomach that when you see people that are really struggling to make a day-to-day ends meet, and they can't do that. And you have all this like this beautiful castle that's just sitting there because the queen is in another castle, or the family is doing something else or whatever. It just it was a lot for me to take. I don't know how I would. I'm with you, Eddie. I think I'm on the same fence as you. I do know that the queen has done a lot to take her job seriously. She has done what she can for the people. And really, her position isn't of any kind of political authority. It's more of just the overall face of the government or of England. But the way that the wealth is unequally yoked is just really sad. But it was amazing to experience it. Yeah, I know. Think happy thoughts. I agree. It'll all work out in the end. We know that. It'll all work out in the end. I don't remember where I was going before, but anyway, Stonehenge. So anyway, we went into the middle of Stonehenge, and the energy that you feel when you go into that is by far unlike anything I've ever felt before. It was amazing. You could feel it right away. We had this really knowledgeable guide that basically I didn't listen that much to because I just really wanted to walk around Stonehenge, but he was very informative to certain parts of Stonehenge that I was willing to listen to, I guess you could say. But you could feel the energy. It was so beautiful. Even driving up to it, driving around it, being in that area, you could feel the energy of that. That to me was by far the most amazing experience. Exactly. What is her job? She's more of a public relations person, I believe. She doesn't take taxis. Who's waving and taking taxis? We took a couple taxis, that's for sure. Taxis in London is much easier than Uber in a lot of areas. We got into one area, we were trying to take an Uber, and there's no way we could get the Uber. I mean, 15 miles would take us 45 minutes to an hour. Could have walked it faster. It was really London. I was not a fan of London. Not that, I don't know. I'm not a big city person anymore. I used to love New York. When I would go to New York with my mom, I would love going to New York. I loved watching the people. I loved the crowds. I loved the subway system. I loved it all. But I think London to me was, I don't know, maybe I need to do it again. But I didn't enjoy London. It was too big. It was too fast. It was too many people. The other thing, the first time we were in with the group, with Sheila's group, but we wanted to take this day trip. We had an afternoon off. And it was the first time we took a day trip. And we got an Uber. And so I got in the front seat of that Uber car, right? Now, we all know that they drive on the right side, not the left side. We in the United States drive on the left side. And so I got into that seat in the front, and I'm driving down these narrow, because in London, man, they have to like squeeze everything out. I got these beautiful pictures at dusk though of London. It was amazing and beautiful. But anyway, driving down the street, and I literally like was holding on because my brain was like flipping out, trying to figure out how to handle these buses coming towards us. And I'm in the driver's seat, and they're on the other side in this narrow street, and they have to go in and out of oncoming traffic because the streets are so narrow and you got cars parked on both sides. And he's driving at like 45, however many miles an hour. And I'm thinking I'm going to die, and I'm holding on. It was really amazing and crazy. You've been on the wrong side for years. You're funny, Eddie. Back to your question, Marcia. You're going to have to Google that. She really is just a public figure, and she's a face, and she makes some decisions, I guess. I don't know. You look that up and you tell me, Marcia. I want to know what she does. Hold on. I got to read messages here. Oh, I forgive you, Marcia, for the mad face. The other thing that we did that was really amazing was the Chalice Well, which is a Catholic church that came across this Chalice Well. And if you haven't heard of the Chalice Well, Okay, you get back to me. The chalice well is this water is coming from it's like the deepest well, and it's pure water. It's supposed to have healing properties. And when it comes out, you're thinking, I'm not drinking that stuff. Because in some areas it's really brown, it's like coppery, and then there's this other area where it's clear, and that's where you drink the water from. And I was like, go back and change that mad face. That's so funny. I'm kidding. It's fine. Mad faces are just as good as happy faces. I'm just saying. But anyway, the energy at the Chalice Well was really beautiful. And the other exciting thing, you guys, I have to tell you this. The other exciting thing that I did at the Chalice Well is the first time I actually did a platform reading. It was inspired. I didn't plan on doing it, but I stood up and did a reading in face-to-face live form. It was amazing. It was crazy. The only problem I had with it is knowing Sheila was standing right behind me, and she was going to tell me later about, did I give enough evidence? Was I too vague? I had that going through my mind at one point. But when you hear people talk about when you're in a group of people and you do a reading and you know who the reading is for, you really know who it's for. And like sometimes if it's in a big group, you'll know the area that the person's in. You still can go directly to that person. But as soon as I started the reading, she had given us this exercise to do this orograph. She had given us this exercise, just kind of go out and be in nature and just allow whatever happens to happen and create a picture of some sort. So I did a picture. But what I kept on hearing before I did the picture was orograph, orograph, orograph. And I'm like, I'm not doing an orograph. I'm just going out to do a picture. And so I went out and I was like, where do I go? And I found this place, and this tree really stuck out at me. And so I thought that has to be the center of my picture, and everything around that is what I'm going to put in this picture. And so I started just doing the picture, and y'all have seen I'm not that good of an artist, but you actually can understand what this picture looked like. It was really quite funny. But anyway, I did this picture and I brought it in and just kind of was talking, mingling around, waiting for everybody to come back. And then we had this other exercise. And through this other exercise, I realized that picture didn't belong to me. It belonged to somebody else. And that's what created this opportunity to do this mediumship reading. And so I got up and I immediately went to this one person. I just knew it was for her. And I actually had two other people raise their hand, and I was like, totally blocked them out because I just zoomed in right on this person. It was really amazing. And I've heard people talk about that, but to actually experience it was really cool because it was like a magnet that just pulled me right into doing this reading for this person. So that was really exciting while I was there. I love the people of England. I don't think we met one person that we didn't really like. And they were all very nice, whether it be the Uber driver. We had this one Uber driver. He was being kind of a curmudgeon. He didn't really want to talk. When we got in the car, you could feel in the energy, right? Don't talk to me. I don't want to talk. And we just got him talking, and he told us about the area and his life and different ideas. I mean, it was really cool. So we didn't meet one person that we were there, the time we were there, that was not very engaging and really helped us in the conversation. I mean, in our experience there, or answered our questions or helped us out in some way. Because when you're in a foreign country, you have a lot of things to figure out. And we definitely had that. But it was amazing. And I hope to share more about that because we really had a great time. There was so much that was learned. But one of the things I wanted to talk about today, since this is my day to interview myself, is I wanted to talk about fear. Because one of the things that I learned while I was there is all of us have fear in one way, shape, or form, whether we mask it or we don't mask it. We all have fear. We all have fear in some parts of our life, or it will eventually affect us in some part of our life. There's some people that are born a lot more confident than there are other people. Some people are more fearful than other people. But what I really saw was how much fear holds us back. And fear is only something that's created within our own mind. It's not a reality. It's something that we feel inside of ourselves, where it comes from our either insecurity or our self-worth or our doubts or that wonderful communication that goes on in our own mind about ourselves to ourselves. There's so many things that can trigger this part of us when it comes to fear. And the one thing that I noticed when I was talking to, of course, almost everybody that was in this group, they were either trance medium or medium. And so we would often, I mean, one of my favorite things to do, I'm going to keep digressing, but is going to come together. One of the favorite things that I did is we went into the cemetery and I thought, these are just bodies here, but their souls are all around. So I'm going to go to each particular gravestone that has the writing on it, and I'm going to ask Spirit to tell me, who are you? What was your life? Who are you, male, female? What was your name? I mean, whatever information that I can gain from that tombstone, give me that information. And I did that. And it was really amazing to kind of feel the energy from people that were living in all different times of history. And it was really a beautiful experience to be able to go from cemetery to cemetery. And especially like when a couple times we went to the cathedrals and they would have buried there the cardinals or the priests or the whoever, they really highly honored their choir teachers or masters. And then their families would be buried there. So sometimes you would come to a gravestone that would have had maybe 2 or 3 people there. And so anyway, I was doing that and it was really interesting. But in doing that, I was talking to other people about mediumship and their whatever would hold them up or what their problems would be or whatever. And it really is a thread that the one thing that keeps us from being the absolute best medium that we can be is when we go into our mental mind and become fearful. And fear is the biggest part of it. And what part of fear? It comes from being judged, about being wrong, about self-worth. Because a lot of people are like, well, I don't even know if I should be doing this. I don't even know if it's right. And like when I walked through the cemetery, I didn't feel like I was intruding on anybody's space. I was very respectful and honoring the fact that that was a burial site. And all I was doing was getting to know the people that were in it. And what really struck me, though, is that thread of fear that holds us all back. And why? Why do we have this fear? Why is fear so much a part of what keeps us from moving forward? Why do we allow fear to keep us from really living the life that we're here to live? And I know for me, when I came home, before I hit the pillow and decided to be sick for a week and a half or whatever it was, I was thinking about what are the things that I don't do? What are the things that I'm not doing? What are the ways that keeps me from moving forward? As you all know, I'm going through a pretty big change in my life. And so I definitely have to start thinking about different ways to live, different ways to think, different ways to be, different, what do I want to do for me? I get to recreate my life now. I am at 62 years old saying, I get to make new choices. I get to make new decisions. But in that comes a lot of fear. And I have had a lot of fear from that because I don't know what's ahead of me. I don't know what doors will open or where I'm going to be or how things are going to work out. Those are all things that we put as stumbling blocks in front of ourselves. I know one thing when I was thinking about this topic was one of the things that always keeps me going is I don't have to worry about the next minute or I don't have to worry about the next day. All I have to do is get through each minute and each day one at a time. And I remember it was very similar to when I was first making this awakening or this transformation, how my whole world just was turned upside down and I didn't know what end was up anymore. And I used to just sit in my meditation chair and listen to the birds sing because that was my grounding. If the birds can get up and sing every day, if they can play and fly with each other and do everything that they do in their day without worrying about it all, because they don't worry about what tomorrow is going to bring, or if they're going to get their work for the day done, or if they're going to make enough money to provide for themselves. They don't worry about that. They get up, they start tweeting, and it's so beautiful when you listen to birds talk to each other. All their sounds are so different, and it's just amazing. And it gives you that hope and courage that tomorrow will be a new day. And that's where I've been maybe going back one step farther now and saying, I don't have to worry about tomorrow. I don't have to worry about this moment. I have to do this moment what I can do to move forward, though. There's a difference with that. I can't just say I don't have to worry about it and sit back and do nothing. I have to plan. But that's where fear comes in, because then we're thinking, what do I do? Like I said, I can create a whole new life with or for myself now. What do I want to do? What direction do I want to go? What really brings me passion? What really brings me joy? And take those steps forward. But oftentimes we put obstacles in our way, or we procrastinate, or we make up stories about the I can't, or I'm not good enough, or I need more education. How many of you have done that one? Put in the chat. I want to know. If you guys are on YouTube, put it in the chat. If you're on Facebook, put it in the chat. I know we have some from YouTube. We have some people from Facebook, and you can't read each other's stuff unless you go to one or the other site, which don't do, because I like everybody where you're at. But put in the chat, what is it that keeps you from moving forward? What are you afraid of that you're holding yourself back? And think about it, because one of the things that I did this morning when I was in my meditation and really feeling about, because I was really feeling this kind of in awe of being, I don't even know if that's a word, but that's interesting, about being the observer of that experience and watching. And I see it within myself. I see it within my colleagues. I see it within students. I see it everywhere where we're afraid, especially when it comes to mediumship, which I'll get to later, but we're afraid of the things that we don't know, or the things that we can't see, or the things that we don't have in concrete. But how do we get beyond that? How do we move beyond that? And is fear something that we really should be afraid of? Why should we be afraid of it? Is it something to protect you, or is it something to maybe tap on your shoulder and say, this is a part of your personality you need to work on. This is a part of something you need to be aware of, or something that you need to maybe look at in a different way. So fear is not, I feel that I'm coming to terms with this more and more as I'm facing this new challenge in my life. I'm not saying I don't have fear. I mean, I sat this morning clearly with my list of fears of the hows, the wills, the wins, the, can't be's and it's impossibles that all of us can come up with. But I really started paying attention to the ways that I could procrastinate at something, or the ways that I could distract myself because I didn't want to step forward. And, quite frankly, in a lot of ways, I can be really angry about it because I created this life that I had. I was the one who did the work. I was the one who had the ideas. I was the one who did the thinking. I was the one who did the hard labor to create the business that I have. And now it's going to be all ripped away. That easy. It's going to be ripped away. And I absolutely got angry about it. I absolutely got very frustrated about it because it was very hard for me to wrap my head around something that I created is going to be totally taken like carelessly and nonchalantly from me because somebody thinks they can, which is a whole other side. I'm not putting anybody in the wrong or the right here. It's me having to deal with my own internal dialogue of, instead of looking at it as, okay, you have this fear about moving forward. You have this fear about what are you going to do? You have this fear about how is life going to look for you? What is going to bring you joy? Having the people around me that I want to have around me. You have all of these opportunities now to create again, to create something new. But we don't like change. We like things to be exactly the way they are every day because we go to bed and we wake up and we want to know that we're doing the exact thing. Thank you, Eddie. I like seeing people on YouTube. I'm like, what happened? There was a change here. But we like to have that that structure, that what really makes us feel comfortable, what really makes us feel stable, and we don't like to do things that are changing. I know you can totally understand this, Eddie. I can. So tell me, Eddie, how do you deal with change? Because you definitely are one that likes to have things the way it's supposed to be. It's very disconcerting to anybody to have change, but it can be even more disconcerting to you. So what are some of the things that you do, Eddie, that helps you to stay in alignment? And when you have change or you have to deal with change, how do you deal with that? I'm going to wait for Eddie because I want to know his answer. I know it's hard for all of us. And, in some it's harder than others. And, I mean, for me, I'm no different than anybody else. We all deal with the same thing. And I feel like we have to be more compassionate. You have a meltdown, scream, shout. I did a lot of that. I'm with you, Eddie. I did have meltdowns. I did maybe not scream, but I did internally scream. And then you go back to normal. But how do you get through that change, though? Because the change happens, whether you want it or not. Whether you scream, throw a tantrum, have a meltdown, you have to move forward into the change. So how do you do that? What are the things that you do to get through that change? I know one of the biggest things that's really helpful is to have people around that will listen to you, that will hear you, that will be maybe your rudder when you're in murky water to help you with keeping your focus maybe faced on the straight and narrow versus going off into I mean, I don't know about you, but I can go into la land a lot. Like, no, I want this to be my reality, not this to be my reality. But change is inevitable in all of our lives. I think that we've learned that really deeply, right? When we started COVID and we were all shut down and then we were in our homes for however long you did it, everybody did it differently. In our business, even though COVID was going, we still worked because people still needed our services. So we did the best we could. That's a very good answer, Eddie. Absolutely. You praise what you did well rather than the fall or the failures that you did. Absolutely. And that's where I'm going to go with this, right? Is that as we keep going through these areas of our life where we are going to hit change or we want to create something new, there's two things that I saw with people, though. Do not ever compare yourself to anybody ever, because you're unique. You have your own way. Like Eddie says, I have a meltdown, I scream, I shout. And then he goes back to normal, because then it's like, I have to keep moving forward and praising the things that he did right versus the things that he did wrong, right? You look at the positive because you have to move forward, and other people may not move forward. They may stay where they're at and say, I would rather be in this particular situation than have to change into something that I don't feel comfortable with. And that's a decision that we all make. And one of the things that I really learned too is somebody else's way of looking at something is not your way of looking at something. We're all at different levels. We're all at different ways of seeing things, and not one way is better or more right than another, because we've all been a baby. We've all been a baby. We were born into this world knowing nothing. Some people were born into, and I'm only going to use this because it's a part of my belief system of being in a woo-woo family, where you already knew that you were a soul and that you were created perfect and that you are here to create what you want to create, what your soul and you as a human being had this contract to do. That's what you're going to do. But we all started from an infant. We all started from learning how to walk, learning how to ride a bike, learning how to drive, learning how to work, learning how to do math, learning how to read, all these things that we had to do to be where we are now. And we all did it differently. But we also have this other background information that we all learn from, right? Like I said, I would have rather to have learned from woo-woo family that believed that we were all these things now, but I didn't. I learned from a family that believed that you needed to be religious, you needed to be a Catholic, you needed to be a this, you needed to be a that, you had to be this, a female had to be that, a male. Yes, I was born in that time where a female had to be this and a male had to be that. And so there were structures that developed and created my belief system. And we all have these different belief systems based on what we were raised in. And so as I went through my life, I started bucking up against those belief systems. But I had to go through each one of those steps to get to where I am now. And I'm certainly not going to look at somebody who may be 2 years from where I was 2 years ago and say, you're wrong, because it's their path to learn at the progression that they're at. And I'm certainly not going to want somebody who's 5 years ahead of me that has even more open expansion of understanding to come and say that I'm wrong now, because this is what I believe now, because I know where I was even a year ago. I know where I was 5 years ago. I can tell you damn straight where I was 33 years ago, 34 years ago. But each day, each moment, and each experience has brought me closer to what I'm here to learn. Because again, if we compare ourselves to other people, then we're only going to be messing ourselves up more and more and more, because it's their journey, not your journey. And so if I'm on whatever platform I want to be on, and I'm saying, but this is the way you have to be, this is the way the world is, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. I'm not going to scream up and down about it, but if you think about it, none of us have all the information. None of us know what's really right or wrong. We only know what's right or wrong for ourselves. And that's all we can do, is stay in our own lane and learn what it is we're here to learn at that moment, at this moment in time that you're in. And that's what you go for. I was talking with someone yesterday, which I talked about on the Instagram, about crystals, because that's a great example. And we were talking about this other person who did a show about how it really doesn't mean anything. And I was like, yes, I understand that. I agree with that. I'm not saying crystals aren't important, or crystals don't have a place, or crystals can't help you. I absolutely believe that. I love crystals. As you know, I have them around me. But when I first started my path, crystals were my grounding. They were my anchor, because I felt the energy of the crystal, and I believed, because that resonated with me. We all resonate with different things. I happen to resonate with crystals. I still do. I also, at that time, I believed that it was going to help heal me, and it did. But the crystal didn't heal me. I walked the path of educating myself to heal myself. And each and every one of you do that same thing, no matter what your thing is. Each and every experience that you go through is what helps you and creates you to become a stronger human being, a stronger person. And that's what we're here to do. So when we judge ourselves against other people, and you as mediums all know you do that. Oh, I should have done a reading as good as that. I should have had that information in my reading. I should have gotten that name. I should have done this. I should have done that. I didn't do it. But the sitter said, I loved your reading. But you're going to put yourself down because you didn't do what you think should have been done. How helpful is that? I've done it to myself. I'm not saying that you all have done that and I'm perfect, because I know damn straight I've done it. I've done it as recently as probably yesterday. But that's the process of learning, right? We compare ourselves to other people because we know what we like and what we don't like. But we can't take from ourselves the gifts and the joys that we have within us to share with other people. And it's always going to be different. And that's something that I really saw as I was observing and watching, and still do love observing and watching people as they do them, whether it be in a reading or just interacting with people or doing their jobs or whatever. I mean, one of the things that happened during this trip is you have, all these people come together from all over the world. They're all different in their belief systems. They're all different in the way that they look at life. And yet we all come together and we're supposed to work coherently as a group. Well, that didn't happen very easily the first couple of days of our coming together at all. It was rather scary at times, all these different personalities and a lot of them, as you all know, I'm a little social butterfly and I don't need to have my way. I'm joking. Everybody, has their way of doing something, or everybody has their way of seeing something. But what I observed as time went on and we got to know each other, and we didn't have to butt heads with one another, or we didn't have to have one person being over another person. We just commingled with each other. That group became a really strong group, and we all had our talents and we all had our weaknesses, but yet we were still accepting, and we became a family. And it was really beautiful to see. When ego gets in the way, that's when there's division, right? Because the ego needs to be in control. The ego needs to be right. The ego needs to be on top. The ego is really more of our enemy than fear would be our enemy. But yet we look at fear as being more important than the ego. I know they're close. I'm not going to argue that. But fear tends to be the thing that we're going to go to. What am I afraid of? Why am I not moving forward? What are my obstacles based on where I want to go? But when you watch human nature and the way that human nature works, we're always trying. Okay, this is another example. So one of the things that I did is we went to Glastonbury. One of the things in my life is not being seen, because I tend to put off this. I'm sure you're all surprised, shocked. I tend to put off a strong personality, and people think that I don't really need anything, or that I am self-sufficient, or things don't really bother me. And overall, that's pretty true. But everybody has feelings. Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be respected. These are these are human traits that we all want to have. When I was growing up in my family, I was the black sheep of the family. I was the one that was not seen, not heard, not respected, totally made fun of, black sheep of the family, outcast. And a lot of that was my own doing too. It's not my family did this to me. It was my energy in that family dynamics, because I am independent. Even on this trip, I was independent. There were times that I did my own thing because I needed my time. And I had this beautiful walk. I know that I did 2 lives on Instagram, I think. And I did another beautiful walk. We were at the coast in Folkestone, and we were at this hotel where we could see the canal, the English Canal. And there was this trail that you can go down to the English Canal. And I started walking this trail, and I knew I didn't have much time, so I knew I had to hurry, but I really wanted to enjoy this walk. So I filmed this walk without talking, and I'm going to post it because it is the most beautiful. It's only like maybe 10 minutes, but it's this beautiful walk of just tranquility and beautiful trees and greenery and peace. And the birds were singing. It was amazing. Don't ask me how I got on that. But we all have to take our own path in the way that we go, and how we deal with our life. I really lost myself on that one. Sorry, you guys. I don't know where I was going, but the ego is the thing that will keep us separate. Oh, that's where I was going. The ego keeps us separate. See, spirit always brings you back where you need to go. There were times where I needed to step away. I needed to have my time because I am that kind of person. And I didn't know that when I was younger. I didn't know that I could be with people, but I also need to be with myself. I need to have that time to kind of recuperate. I'm a thinker. So when I get into groups or situations, I have to evaluate the whole situation and then come up with a synopsis. Then I can go in. That's the way I work. I have to think about it. So anyway, there was this one time where I just needed that time. So I walked this path, and it was so tranquil and so beautiful that it brought me back to just being in a peaceful place. And then I was able to move forward and keep going because we were like, man, I had 2 tour guides that were like one thing after the other. It was amazing, but was I tired at the end of that? But I guess what I'm saying is that you need to honor yourself in what helps you to be in true integrity to who you are. Because the more that you honor that and you're in true integrity to who you are, then the more you're able to rise above, vibrate at a vibration that keeps you from being in that more angry, judgmental state. Worthiness, though, is the other part of it. And I think that's the part that brings us down the most. And it's all within our own mind. It's thinking that we're not good enough, thinking that we need to do better. Again, I've had many conversations with someone about classes, learning, needing to do more, needing more information, because we're never happy with where we're at. We need to do more and more. I love that, Eddie. You guys, you can talk in here. I know I'm going on a big rant. Well, I'm not going on a rant. I know I'm talking a lot about this, but ask your questions and put your comments in there. There's 7 of you. Hey, I wanted to say I'm really sorry that I did not feel well enough to do the card reading last Friday. And so I am going to do card readings on YouTube tomorrow night. I'm not going to do it on Facebook, but I am going to do it on YouTube. So I will be doing cards tomorrow night. So I wanted to let everybody know that. I didn't post it, but I will do cards tomorrow night. Hi, Brenda. Good to see you. Why do you think, though, Eddie, that you're going to be too over the top? Why do you think that? I don't find you over the top. All right. Eddie put out the word, you guys. Start communicating here. Eddie's tired of being the one only talking. Why do you think that you're too over the top, though? Because I don't think you're over the top. You speak your mind. Now, is that something that's bad, to speak your mind? To say what it is that you feel or you think? I don't think it is. Well, I think you need to make sure you're saying the right thing at the right time and not being a bad person with it. But there's nothing wrong with speaking your mind. I had a quote. Hold on. Oh, I got to tell you my story. I'm sorry. I'll tell you my story in a minute. So I wanted to tell you a quote that I read. I don't know who it's from, but the fear of being different forces me to be like everyone else. That's what we have to stay away from. And that's, Eddie, that's what I love about what you're doing, because you are a part of this conversation. Yeah, though, I don't know that it's just there, Eddie. I feel like it's everywhere. There's so many people, and I feel like it's a part of this, right? I feel like, especially now when we express who we are, what we feel or what we think, then people don't accept that because it's different than what they believe or what makes them feel comfortable. And I feel like that people just are afraid. They're afraid to be who they really are. I think it's getting better, but too often people are just afraid of that. Also, okay, so back to one of the experiences that I had there is I was the black sheep of my family. And so in my life, though, I'm the one that people will put stuff on. Like, here, you do this, you take care of this, you do this, you're strong enough to do this. I'm not really seen very often for who I am. I'm not really acknowledged in that way very often. And I'm not going to say that's a bad thing, because I understand that's a part of my personality. That's what I'm here for. I've always been that person that's going to be the one that's going to start the issue, start the whatever. I'm going to be out in the front. I'm just that person. It's just who I am. But we went to Glastonbury, and I have to say it was an off day. There wasn't very many people in Glastonbury. To me, it just was like one big shopping area. I didn't see the woo-woo stuff in Glastonbury, but it probably was the day that I was there. But anyway, we're walking around Glastonbury, and we went into this one store. It was a rune store, and it was a Viking rune store. And this guy was Milgard's Crafts in Glastonbury, and he did runes, and he had all these runes in there. And so one of the people that I was with really wanted to go in and get some runes. And I was like, okay. So I walked in there and I saw these runes, and I was like, well, those are really intriguing. So I said to him, because it didn't have a price or anything on it, and I said to him, what is with these runes? And he said, oh, I don't like them. And I said, I do. I said, I think they're really nice. And he goes, if you want them, you can have them. And I was taken back. And these are the runes that he had given to me. They're stone runes. And I thought they were amazing. But what he did is must have been, he's a creative soul. And so what I think he did is he was playing with them, and he just put the shapes right in a with pen. And I thought, I really love these. And I'm going to post a picture of this. But what struck me to that was the generosity in his heart that he saw me. And I was with this other lady who exactly saw what he had done, the same that I did, and how special, and how he touched my heart, because he literally saw me, not everybody else. He saw me, which really showed me that that is really important to all of us, is to be seen. And he touched me in a way that I will never forget, because it was special. It was really special. And I'm going to send him a thank you letter. I'm also going to redo these runes, but I will never let go of these runes now in my life. And what he did is he had this big, I don't know what it is, hammer thing that they do with like metal or whatever it is, this big thing. And he uses it to bless the runes. And so he took my runes and he blessed them, and blessed me for being there. And I just felt like that just was like, it touched me so much. It was the most beautiful experience I've ever had, that somebody actually in the group saw me. I've never had that ever. I'm telling you, I've never had that happen before. It was amazing, and it touched my heart. Oh, that sounds very interesting, Janice. If you haven't read it, there's a book she said called The Courage to Be Disliked. You know what? What you just said there, Janice, has really been my lot in life, is that people just immediately disliked me. I've had so many people that have just disliked me because of my personality. They don't even know me, and they just dislike me because and I don't, I have to say though, in the beginning of my journey, I was fighting to be seen because I had not been seen for so long. I was fighting to use my voice because I wasn't able to use it for so long. I was fighting to forge my way because nobody would allow that to happen. And I realized one day that I didn't have to do that, that's not, I am a strong personality, but I don't have to be that person. So I've changed my energy to not have to be that way. I can still be a leader. I can still be a strong personality. I can still speak my voice. I can still do those things that I've always done, but I don't have to do it with the energy of I'm not good enough, or I'm stupid, or I'm a bitch, which is usually how I would come across, because when I would voice my opinion, I would do it in a way that was very authoritative. And nobody likes to have that. So being able to learn how to be disliked with courage, I think, is very important, because I can't change my personality, which is something I battled with up until, I don't even know, I'm still battling with it really, because I don't know how to be the strong person yet have the compassion. I have the compassion, I always do, and I have the strong part of me as well. And people don't know what to do with the two. So I have really hidden a lot of who I am based on that personality. Yeah, you're right on that. I don't know that I was ever a chameleon. Sometimes I was a people pleaser. Um, yeah. I have to think about that. I'm gonna have to get that book though, because I really believe that that is the biggest part, I think, of our fear, is not being accepted. It's not being liked. We always have to make hard choices sometimes, right? Always, and sometimes in that sentence didn't work, but you know what I mean. When you have to make a hard choice, you have to make the hard choice. I've had to make hard choices in my life. And one of the biggest and the most momentous hard choice that I made directly affected the direction of my life. And am I going to look back and say that was a bad thing? Not for a minute would I say it was a bad thing. Would I rethink it? Not for a minute would I rethink it. It's hard to make the hard choices. You have to be strong. Exactly. You do try to make people like you all the time. Absolutely. And you can't, because you're not going to have everybody like you. But there's a way to do it. I guess that's the thing that you're helping me to see too, though, that I'm trying to say, Janice, is that there's a way to be a strong person and speak your voice where people will hear you. Because you can't be a people pleaser. You can't be all things to all people. You can't. There are people that will not like you. There are people that will like you. And like I've said before, there's times that you'll have people in your life because you resonate and you keep evolving and you keep changing. See, we can't do this life wrong. I believe that firmly. I know some people believe that you can. I don't believe that you can. I don't believe that you can do this life wrong. I believe that each experience is a learning tool. I'm so funny. I'm going to keep using this because it really took me back for a minute, but we were out in a group thing and something had happened. And I said, well, that was a lesson for me to learn from. And this beautiful lady said to me, not everything is a lesson. And I stood back and thought about that for about 24 hours because my belief is everything is a lesson. Everything that happens in your life happens for you, not anybody else, but for you to learn from. How do you learn from it? What do you do with it? I firmly believe that. So I sat with her because she's kind of right in a way, right? It's not personal. Sometimes things just happen, but we can always 100% of the time learn from Eddie. You came back to Facebook. What the heck? I like you on YouTube. Oh, the silence was deafening. I know. That's why when I do card readings, I'm only going to do it on one channel and it's going to be YouTube because everybody wants to come to Facebook because that's where the majority of people are. So then they get bored and they come over to Facebook. So I only am going to do card readings on YouTube, which I'll do tomorrow night. But anyway, you took me off. I must have been done with that topic. You have to be truly who you are. You have to be the voice that you are, but it's the way that you say things, the way that you do things. That's what really counts. That's what's important. That's what we have to be aware of. And I believe that's our lesson because each of us were born to be people pleasers. There's nothing wrong with being a people pleaser if that's where you're at. But if you know that that's what you're doing and it's not serving you, you need to change that, right? It's hard. It's a part of our lesson in life is to learn to be authentically who we are. And a part of that is to not have fear to be who you are. It's exactly what Janice was saying. We can't do it if that's what, some people are that way. They don't care. They don't have an opinion. They don't want to fight it. Whatever the reason is, they're going to go with the status quo. Not everybody's going to do that. But when you know that you need to do something, you need to do it. You need to move forward in that way. And you cannot care what other people think. When you're doing a reading and you know that you're getting that information from Spirit, this is what really tipped me over to that too, is when I would do a reading where I know I'm getting that information from Spirit, I'm just saying what Spirit is giving me. And I walk away and say, but I should have gotten, then I am dismissing the importance of that communicator. I'm saying what's important, and that's not okay. And that's when I started realizing that I have my personality that's going to read in a certain way based on my personality. It's going to be based on my beliefs. It's going to be based on the way I look at life. It's going to be based on my weaknesses. It's going to be based on my strengths. And so the things that are important to my heart are the things that I'm going to pull out. Those are the things. If I'm having a conversation with you here and I'm going to ask you the things that are important to my heart, right? How are you? How are you feeling? How is life going? What makes you tick? I'm going to ask questions that are going to be personal and deep to you. I'm not going to come up to you and say, what was your first car? What's your middle name? I may eventually ask you your middle name if I've known you long enough. There's certain things I'm not going to ask you. Where was your first job? How many brothers and sisters do you have? Now, these are all important stuff, mind you. I am an evidential medium, and I believe evidence is very, very important. You have to prove that you have that loved one there, hands down. But that's my experience with people that I do readings from. That's not what they want. That's not what they're looking for. It's important that in the essence of what you're giving evidence, but you have to give people the essence of what they want. Being afraid to do that, or being afraid to be wrong. Like, what was I doing yesterday? It wasn't a reading, but I was talking to somebody, and I knew a piece of information that I didn't say, because, we're always connected to spirit. They're always talking to us when you're open to that. And so I had heard this information. I didn't say it. And then as she was talking back to me, she told me what I didn't say. And I'm like, damn, I should have said that. So we're always judging ourselves, Anyway, don't judge yourself against other people. Just be who you are. It's been an hour. Let me see. What are some of the main, because I didn't even follow my notes, you guys. Not even close did I follow my notes. Do you guys have any questions? What are you guys all up to? There's 8 of you, and I only have 2 people here talking, Eddie and Janice. What's everybody else saying? What's everybody else thinking? What do you think about fear? How do you think about fear as being a dictator in your life? And what are you procrastinating at? Or what are you not doing to move forward in your life? I want to hear back from you guys. I don't think we have anybody on YouTube anymore. So it's all us here in Faceland, our Facebook land. What are you guys all doing? What is your biggest obstacle that you're holding back on? For me, I have been wanting to put up 3 classes that I already have going. So this is something that's coming out. I said it on Instagram, so I'm going to say it here, and I'll probably say it again more times. I'm going to do a flyer on it too, because it is going to happen. Marcia and I have been talking about doing a retreat. And I talked to her a couple of days ago, and I said, let's get it done. So we're doing that. So right now, hi, Cassandra. Cassandra was a part of my my Instagram live today. It's good to see you, Cassandra. I am going to get that message out to you guys after this, is my plan. But anyway, we're going to have a retreat, and it's going to be right now, if we can get it all pulled together, September 30th to, let me look and make sure I have the days right. September 30th, I think. Is it? No, it's not September. It's August. No, when are we going to do it? Oh, it is. Okay. September 30th to October 3rd. So it'll start on a Friday and it'll end on a Monday. So Friday and Monday will be travel time. And it's going to be over in the East Coast. I finally got on that page, Marcia. It's going to be on the East Coast. I did do some research trying to look for the perfect kind of house for us to be right on the ocean, where we can really partake in all kinds of fun things and really just have this time of learning and growing together. Marcia's been working on some activities. I'm going to work on more activities. We're trying to keep the costs down so it's not too much. But if you're at all interested in that, let me know. Just email me or message me. It's going to be, and we're only going to have 8 people because we want to keep it kind of small and intimate. However many we have of the 8, as long as we can cover the costs of the place that we're staying in, then it'll work. We're trying again to, be right on the coast, and probably somewhere between Myrtle Beach and Virginia Beach, somewhere in that area is where I've been looking. probably more towards the Myrtle Beach area, I think. I looked at the weather, and the weather is pretty good for that time period. Most people have already gone back to whatever they're doing, so it shouldn't be very crowded. And we're just going to have a couple days to just be. So I know we've been talking about it. If you're interested at all, please let me know, or let Marcia know. And we'll get back with more information as it unfolds. But I want to kind of put that heads up because we've been talking about it, and we both feel that this is the year that we really want to make it happen. And so that's what we're going to do. So there's that. And you guys aren't very talkative tonight. Usually I have oh my God, where is my Jacqueline and Tracy? And are you guys here? Because I know there's 7 people. 9. Wow, we keep going from 7 to 9, 7 to 9. All right. Well, if y'all don't have anything else to say, what I want to say is keep up being you. Know that you're doing the best you can. Try to, one of the things I wanted to say is one of the things that I've gotten to do, and I actually love doing, is sitting. You could call it sitting in the power, but I sit with my own self, understanding myself, but I sit with my higher self. I sit with the energy of who I am as a soul. That's who your higher self really is. And I get to know what that part of me really wants. So sit with yourself and ask yourself, what does my higher self really want? And what are the obstacles that I'm doing to keep me, or the procrastinations that I'm doing to keep me, or putting in front of me to, Tracy, yay. Y'all, that's okay. You can listen. I just am happy you're here. I need Jacqueline too. I'm going to have to message her and say, where are you? She's probably busy because she is a very busy person. Anyway, sit with yourself and get to know what it is that your soul really wants out of your life. And when you do that, when you become really connected to your soul self, then you're going to make wiser and wiser choices, because you're going to be more in tune to what your soul wants. And you're going to know when you're distancing yourself, or when you're putting obstacles in the way, or you're procrastinating. Like I knew I was procrastinating at some of this stuff. My brain would be really easily distracted to one thing or another thing to another thing, until I started realizing, how come every time I think of X, I start doing this? There's something going on here. So it's sit with and journal about what it is, the why you're not wanting to move forward. Understand that why, because it's usually some part of yourself that just is afraid. It's some part of yourself that you need to heal, or it's some part of yourself that you just need to acknowledge that you're going to be okay, and that it's going to work out, and that you always have a safety net in some way, shape, or form. Excuse me. And that's just important for you to take one step at a time to move forward. You do not have to take a gigantic leap. You just have to take one step at a time to move forward, to get to where you need to go. But I feel like it really helps when you sit and understand who you are as a soul. What brings your soul joy? What brings your soul life that you want to keep living, and you want to keep expressing, and you want to keep doing? It could be anything. Writing a book. Right now, I don't know if you guys are doing it, but I'm doing the Hay House 4-day book challenge, which has really been interesting to me. And, it's something that I may play with. We'll see. But what is your soul really wanting to do? So be that strength and be that guide in your own life to connect with your soul and direct yourself forward in the things that will bring you joy, that you're actually here to do. And don't be afraid of doing it, because you were here to do something. You were here for a reason. You are here to express yourself in many different ways. Allow yourself to do that, and don't hold yourself back. Fear is only a way to give friction to us, to show us something. So ask the question, what is that about? What is that friction about? What am I avoiding? What am I trying to avoid? What am I afraid of? Why am I afraid of it? How can I overcome that fear? Is the fear real? Or is it something that I'm just making up because I don't want to put myself out there? I know that's a big one. People often don't want to do the big things because they don't want to put themselves out there. I know for me, When I talk to some people that want to do even this, they can't do it because they can't talk. I get tongue tied when I'm up here. And I know a lot of people, they won't do a live. They won't do a live because it's messy. And they have to go back and they have to cut and paste and edit their whatever they're doing, their video, so it'll look perfect. But who of us is perfect? We're never going to be perfect. We weren't meant to be perfect. We were meant to express ourselves. And it's that first step. Like, oh, I was talking to this one lady. It was like, she wants to do lives. And I said, why can't you do a live? And she said, because I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid that I won't do well. But from my experience in doing this, I have made big mistakes. I mean, I don't remember who it was. I think it was Brett. I said her name wrong. Dang. Who said she went back and she saw some of my older videos. She hasn't even seen the first of the videos. Some of you guys were with me when I did my first videos. Were hilarious. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was doing it in my office and I didn't have a screen. Everybody saw my house and everybody gave me opinions about my house and what I should do. And it's too busy and I should do that or I shouldn't listen to that. I was like, it was a mess. Period. Yes, it was you. Yeah. And I really appreciated what she said because, what I did 5 years ago is not what I'm doing now. And what I will do 5 years from now isn't what I'm doing now either. But hence I digress, is this woman was really afraid to do it. And so I tried to encourage her to just do a little tiny group, like small little group, only have like 4 of your friends that will come on and you keep talking. But the thing that I've learned about people is they're very kind. Most people are very kind. You guys were very kind when I got sick and I appreciated every one of your thoughts and your getting well messages. It was all very touching and very important to me in moving forward and healing. I know, right, Cassandra? See, now you guys are going to start talking. Exactly. We have to start somewhere. I have a picture of J-Lo. I literally have a picture of Jennifer when she was in high school. She was in choir. She wasn't known as being this J-Lo that she is, Jennifer Lopez, the famous singer, the famous person. She was a high school student, had a boyfriend, did her high school things. She created by one step at a time, getting to where she is. Don't ask me where that came from. But anyway, we all have to do that. We all have to take the steps. But if you stay in your little rock, in your little corner, safe, then you're not going to be able to know what you're actually capable of doing. And I know, I have people. You do? Oh, message me. I know that if you put it here, it won't come on. If I put your name, will I find it? Let me know if I put your name. I want to see it. I so want to see it. Try putting your channel on there if you can. If it doesn't come on, just message me and tell me the channel. Because I know somebody said YouTube won't let you do that for some reason. Please. Period. Please. I want to know. Anyway, see, she has 2 videos on YouTube. You guys, YouTube is the number 2 most searched engine there is. It's really important that you get your name out there if you have a message. So get out there and do it. But anyway, the fear is what keeps you from moving forward. Doing it, though, will get you out of the fear. And that's the caveat to it. If you just sit and do nothing and think about it, then you never move forward. But if you take the step, then you find that it's not as scary. But it is scary. Now, mind you, I have some peeps around me that kicked my ass to keep moving because I loved it. And like I've told somebody just recently, if I have to do anything in my work, anything, the first thing that I'm going to go to is booking people for the show. That's the very first thing that I'll do over anything else because I love doing it. I love having on new people, which I have to get booking people. I'm kind of getting low on my people now. But I love booking people. I love doing these interviews. But when I first started, you wouldn't see me doing this alone because I had to hide behind other people. I didn't have a voice. I just needed to be the voice of other people. Hold on. Sorry, I got a message I needed to look at. But anyway, I just kept on moving and I kept on having the encouragement from the people to keep moving. And now they can't stop me. So that's what you have to do is just keep moving, keep making those first steps, and you'll get to where you want to go. It's taking that first step. And it's like basically, really, it's what Janice said. We can't be people pleasers and we can't be afraid to be disliked because not everybody will like you. Not everybody likes me. I can tell you a lot of people who don't like me. And that's okay because we're all people and we all, have our own way of doing things. Anyway, hence I digress. Okay, I'm going to go. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for listening. I'm going to do card readings tomorrow night, 4:00. So I'll be on YouTube. So be there if you would like to. Oh, I love that. Okay, you guys. There is her information in code. So that will help you find her. I will be looking you up for sure. Okay, everybody. It was nice. 4:00 tomorrow. Thank you for being here. And come with questions tomorrow if you want a reading. And I send big hugs to everybody and blessings. And thank you for listening to me. If you have any questions, emails, want readings, message me. I'm here and around. I have a website coming. My new website should be up soon. You too, Cassandra. You too, Eddie. It is good to be back. I will have a guest next week. I'm very excited about it. I'm rebooking 2 guests that had to be maneuvered. So I'm working on my booking. All right, everybody. Take care. Bye.